But that jamboree happening right now, you see it there on your screen, in that place is particularly chilling because in 1939, more than 20,000 supporters of a different fascist leader, Adolf Hitler, packed the garden for a so-called pro-America rally. A rally where speakers voiced anti-Semitic rhetoric from a stage draped with Nazi banners. When a Jewish protester rushed the stage, the Associated Press reported, quote, instantly, a dozen or more stormtroopers set upon him, knocking him down and beating him as he held his head in his arms. Most of his clothing was torn from his body. Later, he was booked for disorderly conduct. Now, against that backdrop of history, Donald Trump, the man who has threatened to use the military against opponents he calls enemies from within, who has threatened to use the troops to quell what he says are lawless cities, and to use those troops to carry out mass deportations of immigrants, is once again turning Madison Square Garden into a staging ground for extremism.
But let's also go to what Donald Trump himself said last night, that some of the black men groups that I've been debating about why they can't be with Trump, he said, I could be laying out in the beach with my white skin getting tanned. I mean, this is Donald Trump's mouth. Right. Saying this. So I said to those on the fence, this is not a real racial signal. My pretty, white, beautiful, white skin. Yeah. Donald Trump said this last night at his homecoming.
The greatest resorts in the world. I could have been extremely happy. I could have had those beautiful waves smack me in the face. I could have had the beautiful suntan. This white skin could have been tan and beautiful.
So when people said that this was like reminiscent of the supremacist rally in 1939, the Nazis, I think that it lived up to that.
I just got back from Donald Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden. I'm a Jewish New York Republican, and I have seen the mainstream media calling this a Nazi rally. And that couldn't be further from the truth. There were so many Jews there, just like myself. There was Israeli flags, and nearly every single speaker talked about their commitment to upholding the relationship between U.S. and Israel. Not to mention all the Latinos for Trump, gays for Trump, and nearly every other group that would have never been allowed in if this was actually a Nazi rally. Kamala Harris could literally bring Adolf Hitler on her stage, and the mainstream media still wouldn't call it a Nazi rally. Their lies are futile. Trump is winning this election in 9 days. Make sure you get out, vote early, and vote for Donald Trump.
The current non-Jewish Messiah was chosen to be of service to the Jewish people and the Jewish Messiah. President Trump's right ear was grazed in a symbolic gesture of Exodus 21:6, where the Torah states that a servant who wants to remain with his master needs to have his right ear pierced. Trump was designated as God's servant and anointed one, just like Cyrus the Great almost 2,400 years ago. We have clarified in several videos that the absolute deadline for the redemption is by the end of the Jewish year 5787, which corresponds to October 2nd, 2027, 1,167 days from today. Thus, the redemption will surely occur during Donald Trump's tenure. And I have good reason to believe Donald Trump was chosen to be the one to redeem the sins of Esau through offering his assistance in rebuilding the Holy Temple on the Temple Mount and establishing the Jewish kingdom over all of mankind in Jerusalem. Perhaps it is no accident that the numeric value of Donald Trump in Hebrew is the same as Messiah, son of David, Mashiach ben David, 424. However, Donald Trump is mistaken if he thinks he was chosen to make America great again. He will no doubt do a lot of good things to strengthen our economy, protect our borders, and allow religious freedom to flourish. But America will never become a great country on its own, because Esau's days are numbered. All our elite institutions and centers of power and influence are rotten through and through. The majority of Americans under 30 who are college educated and who are the future leaders of America support the vicious monsters of Hamas rather than the holy and courageous soldiers of the IDF. No human being, even Donald Trump, can reverse this. No. The greatness of America does not lie in its own success. America will be great when the Messiah comes. And the leader of this country, on behalf of all the good people in this country, will humbly present himself to the Jewish Messiah and ask him to accept the United States of America into a new alliance of countries who accept the leadership of the Messiah. A new United Nations will replace the current cesspool that goes by that fraudulent name. A real United Nations, united to serve God, led by the Messiah and based in Jerusalem. And my feeling is that the United States, under President Trump, will be the first nation to join.
President! He understood. When nobody else understood, he understood. We're not talking politics. We're not talking politics. We're talking Torah. We're talking prophets. That's what it's all about. And once we understand it, and I think he understood it, maybe he can't say it, but he knows. And he's pushing us. He's pushing us. So we're starting with the people of Israel, we're starting maybe with the Trump base, but I'm sure that maybe through Trump, everybody will understand not how Donald Trump is important, but how important Jerusalem and the temple is for the whole world.
The love of liberty must be based on truth, not temple denial.